Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa from the Japan America Society of the State of Washington. Since 1994, Japan in the Schools, or JIS, has visited primary, secondary, and college classrooms to introduce Japanese culture, language, and history. Whether helping Japanese language students apply their speaking skills or taking students through a typical day of Japanese school life, the JIS program is praised for generating interest in Japan and inspiring students to consider Japan-related careers in the future. I would love to share with you some more information about our workshops, including a few sneak peeks. I hope you will join us for the full version of this and our other workshops very soon. So we have two basic programs, Japan in a Suitcase and Japan Language and Culture Visits. Japan in the Suitcase program consists of 3 presentations about school life and Japanese history. The goal of these lessons is to get American students interested in Japanese culture. For the day in the life presentations, volunteers bring a suitcase filled with real props from Japanese school life, like textbooks, backpacks, lunch serving outfits, school uniforms, and more. 3rd grader Taro and 8th grader Hanako take students through a typical Japanese school day, like cleaning the classroom, serving lunch, getting snacks after school, and participating in school clubs. The Tokaido presentation is our historical overview of 2,000 years of Japanese history and culture. The Japan Language and Culture Visits are immersion lessons that take Japanese students beyond the textbook and present students with real-life situations in which they use their Japanese skills through role plays. For high school students studying Japanese, we have 3 immersion presentations: customs, shopping, and restaurant. Students get the chance to put their Japanese to use with native speakers close to their age and learn important phrases that they can use when visiting someone's house in Japan, searching for something when shopping, or ordering at a restaurant. So Taro is our elementary school program, and it shows what school is like for a 3rd grade Japanese boy. Common items used by Japanese school children in everyday life are passed around for students to handle and explore. They will learn everyday Japanese phrases, and they can even practice writing kanji. So let's have a sneak peek. So here we have Taro and his family, and as you can see, we use simple Japanese words to introduce the Japanese language to elementary school children, I'm sorry. And Taro is here on the right side with his cap and his backpack, and he is ready to go to school. So in this next photograph, you see Taro putting his shoes on as he's getting ready to leave the house to go to school. So this is the part of the Japanese home that's called the genkan, and it is dedicated to taking shoes off when you step inside of the house and putting shoes on when you leave the house. And as you can see by this step, you step up into the interior of the house, and at that point your shoes must be off. And then you see him putting his shoes on because he's getting ready to leave to go to school. In this picture, you see him waving to his mom and his little brother, and he's getting ready to leave to go to school. And we use this photograph to show students how Japanese people say goodbye when they leave the house. There are 2 phrases in Japanese that are used, ittekimasu and itterashai. And so we practice these with the students, and we tell them to keep this in their minds because they're going to be using these expressions in just a few minutes. But first, before they go to school, we ask them how the students in the classroom actually get to school. We learn that some students take cars, they get rides to school, others take a school bus, and yet others walk. But in Japan, there are no rides to school. There are no school buses either. What the students do is they put their yellow hats on and they walk in groups for safety to go to school. So at this point, we use these 3 slides to break the students up into groups. We practice the itterashai and ittekimasu, and we march the children around inside the classroom as if they were going to school, just like Taro would be doing in real time. So that's a little bit of a window onto Taro's day. So now let's move on to Hanako and middle school. So our middle school presentation follows an 8th grader whose name is Hanako and takes her through her day. From waking up in the morning, going to school and hanging out with friends, to eating dinner with family and getting ready for bed, how different is Hanako's life from yours? So let's take a peek at her day. So here's a picture of her family that we get to meet and learn some of the vocabulary for. And you see Hanako on the right side in her uniform, and she is also ready to go to school. So once she gets there, once a week, she will participate in an assembly, as you see here in this photograph. And you can see how different Japanese assemblies look from American ones. Here you see the students sitting in very neat rows on the floor. And they don't really get to choose their seating buddy. You can see that they have different colored bags set next to them on the floor there because they are seated according to grade. So they have to sit with their class according to grade. And here's another little window on her day. You can see the students here in class. And you see just a transition from old to modern. You can see they still have wooden desks and a wooden floor, but in the front of the classroom you have a screen and the teacher is using a computer and a projector. So in Japanese schools, the middle and high school students stay in the same classroom all day while the teachers circulate to the different classes to teach their subjects. So as the students are waiting for the teacher to enter the classroom, when the teacher does enter, the homeroom leader, the student homeroom leader, gives these 3 commands for the students to start the class. So the first one is kiritsu, which tells people to stand up. The second one is ndei, which tells people to bow and greet the teacher. And then the third greeting is chakuseki, which means to sit back down again. And this kind of sets the tone for the next hour. So this is the way that each class is started every day. So this is Hanako and Taro, the 2 school day presentations. And now we have Tokaido, which is our historical presentation. So this special high school history presentation takes you through 2,000 years of Japanese history, touching on mythology, religion, art, poetry, fashion, military strategy, and more. So here is a sampling of our Tokaido presentation. So through this presentation, we get to learn what the Tokaido actually is. And we find out that it's an old road between Kyoto and Tokyo that's about 300 miles long. And here you can see in the photograph that some of the original road still exists, but nowadays it's a modern freeway and a bullet train route. And throughout the course of the presentation, you learn why the Tokaido has 53 stops, how people traveled along the Tokaido, and what the stops were actually for. So in this particular photograph, you can see this couple is kind of sitting down to rest. And the reason for that is because people traveled by foot. They didn't have any other means of transportation for ordinary people. So this couple is sitting and resting, and you can see the gentleman taking his sandals off and wanting to soak his feet. On the left side, you see a typical inn that they would have stayed at. We also have the benefit of seeing photographs that were taken during the time, historic times, and you can see the people walking along the road here. You can also see that there are some people who are a little bit too tired to walk. And so if anybody becomes too tired, they can hire some people to carry you. And you can have a little bit of rest as you're traveling along the Tokaido. And now we come on the favorite portion for students of this presentation, and this is showing how people traveled in Japan because at this point in our presentation, we actually bring out kimonos from the suitcase and we dress the students in period garb, just like you see here in this photograph. So they get to wear the hats, they get to dangle the luggage on the shoulder, and then they get to wear all of this and look just like a traditional Japanese traveler. So it's a really great photo op for their classmates and for their teachers as well. So these are our JIS, the Japan in a Suitcase presentations. And now we're going to talk a little bit about our Japanese language and culture visits. So we have 3 of those, one of which is shopping. And I know that we all want to shop if we go to Japan. So from big city shopping districts to small countryside shrines selling charms, there are so many places to buy things in Japan. This presentation sends students to 4 common places: a convenience store, a bookstore, a post office, and a toy store, and has them test their skills at searching for and buying items. Next, we have our restaurant presentation, and this helps students order food in a restaurant so that you can invite your friends out to dinner. And so we are headed to Cafe Oishi to practice ordering at different restaurants in Japan. In this restaurant presentation, students will learn how to order at the restaurant, comment on their food, and ask for the bill. The presentation starts with a discussion about eating out in Japan, followed by learning the set phrases, then ordering at the restaurant, and other things. Last, we have our customs presentation. So this shows you some of the things that you need to know if you're going to be visiting somebody in Japan. Here we talk about visiting a teacher in Japan. So we have to know about what an omiyage is, what seizai is, what toilet slippers are. What might those be? With our customs presentation, students learn about different manners that must be observed when you're visiting somebody's home in Japan. The presentation begins with a 30-minute discussion about different etiquette customs seen in Japan, what to say when you enter and leave a house, what to do with your shoes, how to bow or how to sit, and many other different things, so that prepares you for a polite visit. Well, during COVID, this very unusual year we developed JIS virtual classrooms so that all our programs are available online. This has allowed us to open our JIS programs to the wider community through our bi-monthly workshops, while also continuing to offer private virtual sessions for students and teachers to enjoy upon request. And I'll tell you how to request a visit here in a little bit. So why is Japanese language and cultural education so important? Well, a vibrant Japan-America business and cultural community is the foundation of a dynamic and strong Japan-America relationship. So maintaining a Japanese language curriculum in public schools is vital for creating a new generation of Japan-related entrepreneurs and business people. As you can see on the big tree, JIS and the Washington Association of Teachers of Japanese water and feed the roots of language and culture education. The Hyogo Business and Cultural Center sponsors many events and programs to support the roots. And at the top of the tree, the fruit represents Japan-related careers and opportunities. The whole tree grows under the sunshine of the Consul General of Japan and the Japan Foundation. So JIS forms part of the foundation of Japan-related education, ensuring a continual renewal of interest, inspiration, and active participation in the Japan-US friendship. Since 1994, the Society has supported events throughout the year to give students opportunities to further their Japanese studies. This year saw the launch of the Japanese Language Festival that celebrated Japanese culture, history, and language education in a fun, virtual format. And in 2015, JAS created America in the Schools to promote sensitivity and respect for cultural diversity by educating elementary school students in Japan about the daily life, language, and culture of America. By bringing American life to Japanese students at an early age in their academic career, a resilient foundation can be cast that will promote awareness as well as encouragement for further English language and American culture studies. Our youth are the future of the Japan-US bond on all levels. And finally, our Japanese Business, Culture, and Etiquette program. This is a program that gives corporate members some helpful hints for successfully doing business in Japan by familiarizing them with some points of Japanese business, culture, and etiquette. They learn how to successfully navigate a business visit to a Japanese workplace. Topics include appropriate attire, greetings and bowing, business card exchange, conference room etiquette, and more. So this has been a thumbnail sketch of what we do at JAS, and I thank you for taking a few minutes to listen to what we do. We hope to see you in the near future, either in person or virtually. To request a visit, go to jassw.org and click on Japan in the Schools and follow the links to the online request form. Thank you so much.